This Cookout Clash 2025 DFS Picks edition of the NASCAR Gambling Podcast here on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Sign up with our promo code RACESGPN to get a 50% deposit bonus of up to $1,000. We're also brought to you by Edge Boost. Earn up to $750 per month on your sports gambling transactions. Go to edgeboost.bet, promo code SGPN. We're also brought to you by Rhythm, the leader in data-driven picks and props. Get your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHM.
Driver, start your engine!
Strap in and pull those belts up tight as the Sports Gambling Podcast Network presents the NASCAR Gambling Podcast.
I'll wreck my mom to win a championship. I'll wreck your mom to win a championship.
With all the news and the best bets for your NASCAR weekend.
It refrains me from not beating the out of you right now because you asked me stupid questions. But since I'm on probation, I suppose that's improper to say as well. If you could talk about racing things, we could talk about racing things.
Now, here are your hosts, Rod Villagomez and Cody Zeeb.
It is a Wednesday, and I want to welcome everybody to the NASCAR Gambling Podcast here on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. He's Cody Zeeb. I'm Rod Villagomez, and today is it's a special day because it is DFS Day, but it's a day before the first actual race of the season, Cody. I don't know why I put it in air quotes, but super excited that we've been talking about the Clash all week, and we're gonna say, well, not day before the race. If you listen to it the day before, it's the day before.
Okay. All right. I am glad that you reminded me it's Wednesday. I was halfway down my driveway with the trash bins, which go out on Thursday evenings. And I realized it was not Thursday evening. That's the type of week I've been having, Rod. And I was like, I went out. I was like, oh, yeah. I was sitting there. I'm like, oh, shit, trash day. Okay, let's go. I take it down. And I noticed nobody around had theirs out. You know, a lot of the neighbors have the same trash service. So I was like, boy, it's Wednesday, isn't it? And so, yeah, just turned my happy ass back around, and here we are.
Boy, let me tell you, and what's crazy to this and all of this is that, you know, it's somebody, I saw this tweeted out the other day, and it kind of hit home to me too. Somebody's like, how is it still January? Like, I sometimes wonder to myself, how is it still January? I don't get it. It just doesn't make any sense to me. So, yeah, can somebody tell me how it's still January?
Yeah, it's longest month of the year, Rod. I mean, it is the full 31 days, but it actually feels the longest for sure.
I mean, and there's a lot that's happened. I mean, you want to talk about just everything under the sun happening this January. I mean, I don't know what February's got in store for us, but I got to tell you, if it's anything like January, I'm ready for next January.
Half of California burnt down. It was snowing on the beach in the south. Like, everything is just gone crazy. It's been a month, Rod, but it's almost over, and that means racing is back. Here we are.
Yeah, we are. We are here at the Clash. Again, if I always forget because I always feel like everybody just listens to this show every single week. But if this is your first time stumbling in on this show, first of all, thank you for listening and thank you for watching whatever it is you're doing right now. But yeah, normally on a week-to-week basis, especially during race week, I know that there's a lot of people that didn't necessarily join us for the off season, and that's fine. But we covered a lot of great stuff. You might want to go back and listen to that if you're wanting to play some futures bets, because that's pretty much what we covered. But normal race week, this is kind of what this is right now, right? So Tuesday, we'll set up the Cup Series bets. Wednesday, we'll try to factor in Cup and or Xfinity and trucks rather. And then Thursday will usually be our DFS episode. But because obviously no trucks, no Xfinity, this turns into a DFS episode. And then tomorrow we'll do an underdog episode should they put out some projections for us for the Clash. And if not, we'll improvise. But yeah, this is a DFS episode. We will cover NASCAR DFS for the Clash specifically this week and break down some of our favorite plays for the slate.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited to dive into it.
I am too. But let me tell you first that SGPN is running a free squares pool. Did I say free? I said free. Free squares pool for the Super Bowl. Get this, $1,000, not split up, not divided amongst the winners. No, winner take all $1,000. It is a battle royale for a $1 grand prize for the final score square. Just go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/squares to sign up today. sportsgamblingpodcast.com/squares. Cody, how much does it cost to enter that contest?
It is free, Rob.
Oh, gotta love that. Yeah, make sure you go get in that $1,000 up for grabs, my friends. And if you want to know more about how that works, go back and listen to yesterday's edition of the Sports Gambling Podcast Mothership Show, where Cody brought it all in for us and talked NASCAR, Daytona, Clash, taught Sean and Ryan a little bit about how to sound smarter around the track. It was a good show.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Go check that out. The mains, if you don't know, if you've only listened to this show in the past, we are part of the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. Sports Gambling Podcast is the main show in that network. Sean and Ryan, they're great dudes, have a great show. They talk about all sports. A lot of, football's kind of their main focus, but they dabble in a little bit of everything. So yeah, they had me on last night, and they don't know much about racing. They leave that to us, which we're thankful for. But so it's fun, kind of indulging them on their questions and giving out some bets as well. Kind of previewed some Daytona 500 bets. So if you're wanting to hear some thoughts on that a little earlier than we get into them on this show, go check that out as well. It was a lot of fun. And speaking of Daytona, Rod, I would like to tell you our Daytona 500 contest is live. sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Daytona. Go over there, just like a Google form or whatever you fill out. All you have to do, Rod, by the way, giving away $100 cold hard cash plus $100 gift card to the merch store where you can get brand new
Race officials are terrorists is what the shirt says. And you want to go to Discord and check it out too.
Yeah, if you listen on the podcast, I did stand up and show my shirt, but they've got their refs are terrorist shirt. We've got the race officials are terrorist shirt. This is perfect, Rod, for still mad about Cardboard Gate? I am. Race officials are terrorists, local short track race or whatever it is. We know everybody hates the race promoters. They hate them, but they love them at the same time, right? It's great. Race officials are terrorists. Gotta love it. But back to the contest. So we are going to give away some of these T-shirts as well to a couple random people. All you have to do, Rod, pick the winner of the Daytona 500. That's it. You pick who that is. And you have to be subscribed to the YouTube. That's free. You have to comment on one of our videos. That's free. And that's it. That's the only requirements. As Nick Fortune wants to know, how much does it cost? That's it. Subscribe to our YouTube, and that's it. Free outside of that. So, yeah, go over there, get signed up. All you have to do is pick who you think is going to win the Daytona 500. Obviously, as we know, anybody in the field can win. So pick whoever you think it might be, and then we'll break the tie here on the show. Of course, if multiple people pick the winner, we'll put you in the wheel or whatever, draw a name out of a hat, however we decide to go about it, break the tie there, and hand out the prizes that way.
Or we fly you all out to Las Vegas. We have a potato sack race until the ultimate winner is, that's how we're going to settle that. That's a lot of fun. You guys get an all expense paid trip to Vegas.
Hold on. I've got the fine print on that, Rod. Must pay your own way, purchase your own tickets, and videotape the potato sack race for us. Okay, there we go. I decided to get that out of the way.
I'm sorry. The legal department for SGPN is going to be all ablaze this weekend because, love it. John Little checking in. Give me some of that DFS. It's been a while. It really has.
DFS. Let's go.
Indeed. Yeah. So what we normally do on a DFS episode is give you our favorite high price driver, our favorite mid price driver, and our favorite low price driver for the slate. Each of us gives out one of those picks, and you can feel free to either play them all, play one, play two, play none. I mean, it's up to you. Who cares? But yeah, definitely we're here to give you our favorite plays for the slate, and you can make your own minds up after that how convincing we are in the end.
And some special restrictions this week too. I did want to get one piece of news I wanted to touch on real quick, Rod. We had a ton of news yesterday, but just kind of one piece that came out today. Michael McDowell, Justin Haley, they're both going to be entering the Truck Series race at Daytona for Spire. They're, of course, both now Spire drivers. McDowell leaving front row. Haley was traded near the end of last season from Rick Ware Racing over to Spire. He's returning there. So Spire Cup Series drivers also both pretty good super speedway guys. Both have won at Daytona before. Haley had a streak in the Xfinity Series of 3 or 4. I mean, it was Austin Hill type of streak of winning a ton of races over there. So those are going to be guys we're probably going to be having conversations about when it comes to the Daytona Truck Series race coming up here in just 2 weeks.
Well, we know those Spire trucks are not half bad in the Truck Series, so they're definitely going to be competitive. And I mean, it gives the other Spire drivers, Raja Caruth, a couple of drafting partners to be able to get there. So
that could be huge. Yeah, Raja Caruth and the other Spire truck driver who I can't think of at the moment.
He can't think of
got to brush up on. That's the thing. We got all these changes in the off season. And there's a lot to brush up on.
We're in cup mode, Cody, so I completely forget.
We'll focus on the trucks next week when it's time for that.
Yeah, we're in full cup mode right now, trying to give you the best DFS picks we can for the Clash. All right, so the Clash, you talk about the special restrictions for this week. Obviously, these picks are for the main event. So that means that through all the qualifiers, through all of the heat races, none of that matters. It's whether or not they're racing in the what is going on in my throat? It's whether or not they're racing in the main event, the very last 200 lap shootout, that matters for these plays. So if they don't make it, you have time to swap them out.
Yeah. And so that's kind of the main thing is don't just go set a lineup now and forget it, because somebody doesn't make the races, you're not going to get any points from them. No points are earned in the heat races. Doesn't matter how many laps they lead. Doesn't matter if they win their heat race. None of that. It's only the 23 drivers who are in the main event on Sunday evening. And again, so the way it's going to work is Saturday, we're going to have the practice sessions, 3 practice sessions for all 3 groups. Based on how fast they are, that's going to determine heat race lineups. Then also on Saturday is the 4 heat races, 25 laps each. Only green flag laps are counted, no overtime. Race is going to finish under green. Top 5 from each of those lock themselves in. So you will know on Saturday night who 20 of those 23 drivers are. They will all be locked into the race. So you'll be able to build at least a lineup from that if you are so busy you can't build one on Sunday or whatever. But Sunday then, you're going to have the last chance qualifier race, 75 laps. Again, only green flag laps count. The top 2 finishers in that will advance. By the way, those drivers will start in 21st and 22nd place. We're going to have some place differential possibilities there. So they're going to be guys you're going to have to consider. And then that 23rd and final starting spot is going to be the highest finisher in last year's point standings that has not yet qualified in through the heat races, through the last chance qualifier, which means, even though they, for whatever reason, didn't make the event through the normal routes, they're going to be somebody pretty good probably, right? At least that finished in the top 23 in points last year. So they're definitely going to be somebody that is in play as well. Joey Logano, Rod, the only driver, already guaranteed starting spot because, of course, he was a champion last year. So if he were to not qualify in, he would then take that provisional starting position.
Remember when a couple of seasons ago, too, when we kind of debated on whether or not that means you even want to qualify or go through all of the heat races and all that since you're already assured a spot. But you want a good starting spot.
Yeah, I think, well, if he doesn't, if like a Joey Logano or whoever it is, because we're going to know going into Sunday, we're going to know, okay, Joey's already made it in. So I don't remember who finished second at this point, but second place, if they're not in, we're going to know who it is. If they're starting farther back in the last chance qualifier, they might run 2 laps, pull it off and call it good because they've already got their spot locked up. Or maybe they'll race for it depending who it is. And you might have multiple guys in there that could all be kind of duking it out for that as well. So it'll be interesting to watch. But yeah, again, to your point earlier, it's only the 200 laps that count in that main event on Sunday evening, and it's only those 23 drivers. They are in that race also, Rod, only counting green flag laps. So if somebody's leading laps under caution, it's not going to count for your DraftKings score because those are not official counted laps. Only green flag laps are the ones that count.
Yeah, that's actually a good point, too, because when you're talking about laps led and when you're talking about the potential for all these people, like to lead laps and get points for that, like, well, what do you mean they led like 10 extra laps? Yeah, but those are all under yellow, so those don't count. Like a normal race, they would, obviously, right? But not in this instance. So, yeah, good stuff. And then, of course, pricing has just come out over the last couple of days. And so
this morning, actually, it
was
came out. Yeah. So,
but yeah, so for this, obviously, they don't really know what to make of it. So I think we're getting some good prices, but we're also kind of getting some, prices wish we would have gotten better.
And I think they're being fairly conservative near the top too, because, you have to keep in mind that only 23 drivers are going to make the race. So you have to keep in mind that if that happens to be the top 23 drivers in salary, you're not going to be able to squeeze in that really cheap guy that doesn't make it, obviously. And hey, if you want to completely punt on someone, and who's the cheapest guy? Garrett Smithley. If you just want to load up on the Larson, Bell, Hamlin at the top of the board, throw Garrett Smithley in your lineup, you can do it. He's just not going to give you any points because he's not in the race. So I guess you'd have to weigh your options at that point if that's worth giving up a free square for $5,000. But I guess it depends on how you want to build and how crazy you want to get.
Yeah, that's really crazy, Garrett Smithley. But yeah, we'll hopefully get you out of that situation where you won't have to worry about it, and we'll give you our picks. So let's say we do that, shall we, Cody? I want to start giving out some DFS picks. But first, I want to tell you about our friends at Edge Boost. SGPN has partnered up with Edge Boost, the premier Visa debit card for bettors. An Edge Boost card allows you to avoid the hassle of having your card denied at the sportsbook, DFS site, sweepstakes site, racetrack, or casino. I'll tell you right now, I was in Virginia earlier, or actually middle of last year, and I had this happen to me. I could not use my card in a legal betting state to be able to load up my account because my bank did not like that I was about to start gambling. So I would love to have this, and now I'm going to have it. So I'm definitely excited. Plus, you can earn up to $750 per month in cashback rewards for using your Edge Boost card. And, of course, your money is safe as the card is FDIC insured. The best part is no credit check. That's great for people like me, and it's completely free. Sign up today. Use the promo code SGPN so you get better cashback rewards and instant Tier 2 status. They're going to elevate your status right off the jump just because you know us. So drop our name. That's edgeboost.bet, promo code SGPN. We're also brought to you by mybookie.ag. MyBookie is your place to bet every sport, plus props for every game, and my favorite, the live dealer casino. MyBookie accepts customers from a ton of locations, easy deposit and lightning fast payouts using crypto. Looking at the Super Bowl, big games coming up, right? MyBookie has the line set at 1.5, and they're giving the Eagles underdog status in this one. So give me the Eagles plus 1.5 minus 110. Go lock that in right now over on mybookie.ag. Head to mybookie.ag, promo code SGPN for a 100% deposit match up to $1,000 plus a $10 casino chip. That's mybookie.ag, promo code SGPN. Yes, sir. So before the big game, though, we have our big game, and that is this clash. It's not the biggest game, but it's still a big game because it's definitely
a little big game to set us up for the big game, which then sets us up for our big game. That's great.
I can't wait. And then it's funny because they had talked about it yesterday, Sean and Ryan, talking about or you had brought it up too, that the big event was at the beginning, and Ryan was like, "Well, they put the big event at the beginning." It's like, dude, it's a party. Yeah. Daytona's a party.
It is. I mean, yeah, imagine kicking the football season off with the Super Bowl and then still crowning a champion in a championship game at the end of the year. Boom. There you go.
What's not to like about this sport?
Exactly.
We all know this. You guys know this listening to this already. So Keith says he wants a shirt. Let's go.
sportsgamblingpodcast.com/store. You can go over there. You can get that race officials or terrorist shirts. I'll show it off one more time for those watching over on the YouTube. Pretty, it's a pretty nice. It's very comfortable. I will say they run a little bit small, so yeah, maybe order up the next size. It could just be me, but it's how it goes.
Well, yeah. So make sure you check the size chart for sure. Trioval Live saying, I can't wait to go down or get down.
Going to Daytona. Ugh. I have not been there yet, Rod, but that is definitely on the bucket list, and hoping to get down there for a 500 over the next couple of years at some point, because it would be a wonderful, wonderful time for sure.
Wonder if we started a GoFundMe for a trip. Would people pay for a trip to Daytona for us? All right. Well, or we could just win a ton of money in DFS and take care of all that ourselves. So, Cody, why don't we do that? Why don't we do that? Let's start, as we always do, with our high-priced driver of the slate. Cody, who is your high-priced driver of the slate?
Yes, I did want to shout out quick the Broken Wheel Bearing Podcast checking in. Make sure you check those guys out. Great show over there. Maybe the best racing shirt of 2025. Laughed when first saw it. See, it's great. I love it. Jake, by the way, shout out to Jake Paquin, our merch god. I went back and forth with him. He took all of my little pointers and this is how I wanted. He built the shirt better than what I had envisioned in my head, which is pretty good, Rod. So, yeah. All right.
That's why you leave it to the pros. That's why you leave it to the pros to do all the good stuff.
Exactly. Yes.
We're the thinkers. We got to give it to the people.
I got the idea. I couldn't draw it for you because I'm not good at that. But that's what we got Jake for. So shout out to him. All right, Rod. The people want the plays. Time to get to the plays. Of course, go back listen to the betting show because again, listening to the betting part of things, you can really translate that over into the DFS portion of things. Guys like Christopher Bell that I really like. He's near the top of the board. Really like him. But a guy that we didn't get to talk about on the betting episode that I did want to get into this weekend, Mr. Tyrone Gibbs. Let's go, Rod. We're back. This is the season of Gibbs. Really big on him this season. $1,000 where he's checking in over on DraftKings. Go back to last year's clash at the Coliseum, Rod. And again, to kind of reset up at Bowman Gray here, quarter-mile track, very flat, 0-degree banking. Extremely similar to the Coliseum, right? It's slightly different, but close. It's a close enough comparison. We can look back on the 3 years there. Same format for the most part, or it's very similar to what we had there, that you can really look back on it. Last year in that race, Ty Gibbs led 84 laps. Got into a little bit of a tussle with Joey Logano and ended up finishing 18th. So not a great finish, but the fact that he got up front, the fact that he did lead 84 laps, that's a great DFS day for you. Now, if obviously he could do that again and not finish 18th would be even better. You could have a really great day from him. You go back and look at North Wilkesboro, another shorter, flatter track, another non-points paying exhibition race if you want to. In the All-Star Open there, he dominated that race. Now, of course, not everybody was in that field, but able to get out front, ran away with it, led 100 laps in that, and then obviously moved into the All-Star race and gained quite a few positions in that, so you like to see that. Phoenix last spring led 57 laps there en route to a third-place finish. And as we know, Rod, the sophomore slump is over. This is the season of Tyrone Gibbs. He's going to be picking up wins this year. I don't know if we're there this weekend, right? But I think he can have a really strong day for you on the DFS side of things. 84 laps last year. Again, the 18th place finish sort of hurt you, but the 84 laps will kind of cross that out. So if he can lead 84 laps again and get a good finish, he's going to have a great day for you. And he's only $9,000. That's a pretty cheap price for a guy that is able to lead 84 laps like he did last year.
Yeah, and that for me, I have to make amends to every single Ty Gibbs fan out there. This is my apology tour, I guess, this year. 2025 is my Ty Gibbs apology tour as I take him off of the sophomore slump heap and put him on to the actual productive member of NASCAR society. But look, in this particular race, I do think this gives him a leg up because you're right. He has succeeded at this one before. We didn't talk about him because his numbers were all that great in the betting angle of it, which is why, because sometimes this is what we have to differentiate, right? Sometimes the betting world and the DFS world don't always marry up the way they should.
Yeah, and so many times people are like, oh, why didn't you talk about this guy? And that was even sort of like Briscoe didn't really get brought up on the show much other than saying he was a little bit too high of price, right? But that's the problem. Sure, he's great at short flats. He's going into the 19. He's going to Gibbs. All those things put together should be good, but then you don't get a very good price on them, and it makes it harder to talk about them from a, obviously we could come in here, we could go to the, Kyle Larson's a great play, Christopher Bell's a great play, Denny Hamlin's a great play, Ryan Blaney's a great play, Joey Logano maybe. Okay, have a good day. Like, you just read off the top of the list and okay, but there is more to it, right? It's about the pricing. It's about where they're at as far as how the bets go and all of that. CYTY check in with a good point. It is unknown with his new crew chief, but I believe they work together in the Xfinity Series. They've worked together before. The guy's been around. I'm not super concerned about that. And actually, so Ty's crew chief from last year, Chris Gale, moved over to Denny. And I've talked multiple times throughout the offseason. I don't love that for Denny Hamlin. I think that's going to be a problem. But the thing that helps the rest of the Gibbs guys is Denny Hamlin's crew chief moved into a bigger role overseeing Gibbs. And so now they've got Chris Gabehart giving input on all three of the other cars. That's going to hurt Denny because it's pulling him away from his full attention to that. But his input on the 3 other cars is going to be tremendous help to the other 3 guys. And I'm excited for guys like Ty Gibbs, Christopher Bell, and even Chase Briscoe to that point to get that from a Gabe Hart type, putting him in a higher role like that over all the teams.
He's everybody's crew chief now. Like that's essentially, he's everybody's crew chief. So I think you're right. I think the whole team stands to benefit from his increased role. So yeah, I mean, again, this is my apology tour. I will go and individually shake all of your hands. If I've hurt you in the past for my Ty Gibbs hate, this is the year where I stop that and we can start a dialogue on how great he's going to be this year. So, but listen, I copped out on this. I really did. I took the highest price guy. And I'm going to, but here's the thing. But here's why, okay? Because a lot of you are going to take a look at Kyle Larson, $10,500, and go, I don't want that. I don't want any part of Kyle Larson because he's so expensive. I can't build a lineup around him. But here's the thing. Sometimes, guys, the highest price guy is the guy you got to have. And I know this isn't for those of you who are already going to play him. This is for those of you who are on the fence about whether or not you should play him. I'm telling you, go ahead and put him in there. In the last 3 clashes that have been on this quarter-mile type of a track, which, by the way, 200 laps around a quarter-mile track at Bowman Gray Stadium. Forgot to set that up before. It's been a while, guys. Out of practice on DFS episodes. But, yeah, this is a quarter-mile track. And so in the last 3 years that we've had a clash race at a quarter-mile track in L.A., Kyle Larson has finished 5th place, not once, not twice, all 3 times he's finished in 5th place in this particular track configuration as a quarter mile. It's uncanny. I've never seen it happen. I don't know. I'm hoping he'll do it again this week, but really ultimately I think he could actually win this race because not only has he finished 5th, but I mean the way he's been running over the off season, right? You've seen him do things like win the Chili Bowl and drive pretty much, you know how when you're playing video games and you'd like to take
I don't even think I could do that in a video game, Rob.
I don't know that they'd let you. I don't know the physics would let you do that. But yeah, driving sideways, driving over other drivers, like in a sense, teleporting. I don't know what the guy did, but he ended up winning the Chili Bowl and really just is on a roll at this point. And when you put the hottest driver in the world in a good mood off of big wins like that, I think he's going to pretty much have a nice solid day. And here's the thing too. I mean, if you look back at his finishes at the Clash, right? A 5th place finish. Yes, but he started 8th. It's not a home run in place differential, but it wasn't like he started 2nd and got 5th and he kind of lost you points. In 2023, he got you a 5th place finish, like I said, but started 14th in that race. So there's some place differential there. Started 8th in 2024, ended up finishing in 5th, like I said. So there's some place differential to be had in there. He may not lead you any laps, but at least that a 5th place finish.
All the laps. I mean, if he starts up front, good luck catching. I mean, and that's, yeah, it's again, you have to pick and choose your spots with a guy like Larson. I promise you we're not going to be talking about him next week. Well, we're going to be talking about a lot about him at Daytona.
We'll talk about him
in 2 weeks, but not in a positive light, right? But there's certain times and you got to call your shot on him, and that's what you've done this week with Larson. And if there's a guy you're going to back, not a bad guy to back by any means.
Well, and let's put it this way. So a 5th place finish will earn him 39 points just on finishing alone. That's not leading any laps. It's not fastest laps. It's not anything else place differential wise. Just a 39-point floor for a 5th place finish on a $10,500 salary, close to 4 times, back of the napkin math on that. So for a $10,000 guy, if you're getting 4 times the salary benefit, I think it's a good play.
I like it.
Beautiful. I do too. Like I said, it's not that hard to pick Kyle Larson, Rod. Yeah, I know, but some people are going to not want to do it because they think it's too easy. But don't talk yourself out of it. This is me telling you, don't overthink it. Just put him in there.
There you go. I like it.
Sometimes you need that little angel on your shoulder to say, it's okay. Just do it.
Just do the right thing, Rob.
Do the right thing. All right. Well, the right thing includes giving you a salary relief because if you're going to take Kyle Larson, you're going to need to take a step down from that guy. So the other little angel will tell you about our mid-price drivers. But before we do, let me tell you about Underdog Fantasy. Underdog Pick'em has one of the biggest menus for all of sports. Underdog's always making it easier to win with profit boosts and gimme pick'ems. NFL, college football, college basketball, MMA, NBA, NASCAR, Formula One, esports, pro women's hockey league. You want it? Underdog has got it. You can also use specials and boost on all of your flex entries. I just checked because yesterday I saw a pick that made me stop in my tracks, but Underdog still got it up. It's Jalen Hurts. It's a half of a rushing touchdown or receiving. It doesn't matter what the receiving touchdown about. A half of a touchdown essentially for Jalen Hurts. Please, that tush push is going to happen early. It's going to happen often, and that thing's going to just going to hit for you right away. So take the higher than half of a rushing or receiving touchdown for Jalen Hurts. And like you said, Cody, on last night's show, maybe they just do a Philly special and he catches the pass and he gets in there too. Doesn't matter how he does it other than throwing it himself. You're going to get credit for that. So make sure you take that. Sign up with our promo code in the meantime, Race SGPN. Claim your special pick and first time deposit offer up to $1,000 bonus cash. It's underdogfantasy.com. Promo code Race SGPN. SGPN's proud partner, Rhythm, is the #1 AI-powered sports betting platform that helps provide bettors of all levels the ability to build custom predictive betting models in seconds. Build your own model, copy one of the top performing models from the leaderboard, or you could have Rhythm build a model for you. I'm going to be using my model to figure out how many rushing yards Saquon Barkley is going to have in the big game. I was right in predicting that he would not get to 130 in the conference championship game. I'm hoping that the Rhythm model backs me up on yet another call on Saquon Barkley's rushing yards. You can claim your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm for your NFL picks, NFL props, college basketball, NBA. Rhythm's got it all. sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM.
I'm going to make sure that my Rhythm model tells me to take the over on Saquon Barkley because there's not going to be any slowing him down. And there's no reason to pull him out. There's no reason to let up. Beat those Chiefs into the ground. Saquon's going to do that.
I'm just not there with you. I still think that it's going to be if they put it in an astronomical number like 130 again, I'm still taking the under on that one because look, that 60-yard run is not going to happen against the Chiefs. So he would have been scraping and scratching for the rest of those yards the rest of the time. So yeah, I'm still on the under. Unless it's like 80 something, then I'll take the over. But yeah, if you give me some monstrous number like 130, you could just go ahead and ink me in for the under. So,
well, you know who you can ink me in for, Rod?
Who, Cody? Who?
Justin Haley. Talked about him a little bit yesterday on the betting episode. In the fact that we wanted to bet on him, but couldn't really find a great way. DFS, a great way to get on Justin Haley. $6,700, and he has been really good in this race the last 3 seasons. And now, I don't even think it's arguable at all. He's in the best position he's been in, much similar to the Ryan Priest conversation we had yesterday. Another guy to keep your eye on and check out in DFS too, right? But Justin Haley, now in the 7 car for Spire. Sure, that's kind of been a joke car for years, Corla Joy, whatever, but this is a new Spire, right? They're being very serious about things now. The books have Spire. We talked about this a couple weeks ago, Rod. The books have them at 1.5 wins. I don't know where those wins are coming from yet. But, but they obviously there's high expectations. He's got Rodney Childers, Kevin Harvick's former crew chief, over there guiding him, and he's been a pretty good driver. Go back to last season, qualified his way in, started 10th place in the main event. Well, he was in a Rick Ware car, had engine troubles. That's going to happen, right? So, unfortunately, that happened, but had done well enough going into the weekend to start 10th place in the race. You'd like to see that. 2023, he finished 9th place in that race in the Colic 31 car. A great solid day for him there. 2022 started in 3rd place, looked really good throughout the day, but it was the 31 car, had some troubles, and did not finish the race. Actually, he got caught up in a wreck, but either way, I think he was leading at the time when he did get caught up in the wreck, was having a very good day, and it didn't end right, but we're 3 for 3 on seeing solid showings from Justin Haley. I love that, especially at the $6,700 number. Go back to last season, Iowa, 13th place in the Rick Ware Racing 51 car. That was before he was at Spire. Gateway, same thing, 9th place, shorter, flatter tracks, kind of comp tracks in a way, right? Not direct comparisons, but showing the ability on shorter tracks, flatter tracks to have good runs. Justin Haley can get it done for you. Again, needs to make the main event, otherwise you're not going to play him. But if he does, at only 6,700, whether he starts up front, whether he starts in the middle, whether he starts in the back, I think he's going to have a solid race and can return well for the money that you're paying for him. So give me Justin Haley in the Clash of the Calls, or God, I gotta keep the Clash of the Coliseum just rolled so good off the tongue, and now we change it up again in the Clash of Bowman Gray. Rod.
The cookout clash at Bowman Gray, no
Right.
less. But and listen, if you I have to go back and listen because I don't remember right off the top of my head. We've done 570 of these episodes, but I do believe that even before both of those clashes, we actually were talking up Justin Haley. So this wasn't something that was out of the blue. So we've known that Justin Haley has been pretty good at these events over the last a couple of seasons. So yeah, and at $6,700, that's an absolute steal for a guy like Justin Haley, who should factor in to a good finish here. And hell, maybe you want him to qualify poorly so he can work his way up and get you some place differential points. So that's even better because he does have the ability to do that. Speaking of somebody that has the ability to do that, it's the first time I get to talk really, I think, about AJ Allmendinger in any sort of happy light here on this episode. $6,600, the return of AJ Allmendinger to the Cup Series, driving the number 16 machine again. Excited about this. Obviously, we know that he's like my spirit animal in the car. He definitely wears his heart on his sleeve. He drives tough. He's driven with no cooling suit help. He's driven with no power steering help, with no car help. Like, the dude has just been able to wheel that car without the best of conditions. And so for AJ Allmendinger, you may think to yourself, yeah, but this isn't a road course or it's not a super speedway. And I understand that. But look back a couple of years at this clash format on a quarter-mile track. AJ Allmendinger in 2022 started in 21st spot, which, as we know, is very, very near the rear. Ended up driving to a 9th place finish. And that wasn't even a year in which he was, I think, a full-time. I think, he was, but
Which year was that?
2022.
So he was full-time in the Cup.
Full-time, yeah, but it wasn't anything but anyways, so he drove his way to a 9th place finish from a 21st place start. So that's a hell of a DFS day for AJ Allmendinger in this instance. And then in 2023, he ended up starting in 26th and finished in 20th. So not a glorious day, but for $6,600, a 20th place finish is not bad in and of itself. And plus a 6th place differential there on the finish. Again, it's something that'll, so 23 points for a 20th place finish for a $6,000 salary. That's almost 4 times it already. And then the place differential on that one is a couple of points as well. So yeah, I mean, listen, here's the thing about AJ Allmendinger. He's not going to be sexy. He's going to be somebody that a lot of people are just going to write off right away and say, nah, I don't think he's going to do any good. And then he's going to be a top 15, a top 10 finish at the end of the day. You're going to be laughing because you're going to go, I knew he was actually going to be a decent track or driver on this track. So I'm taking him. And I think you should pay $6,600 for AJ Allmendinger. Love him.
Yeah, and actually, when you look at road course guys, this is the type of track they're going to do the best on. Short, quick turns, braking, all of the things that come into play big time on a road course. That translates really well to tracks like Martinsville, even more so tracks like the Clash, tracks like Bowman Gray, because it is very technical. It's a lot of footwork. You're on and off the gas quickly, quick, sharp turns. This race, the way you're going to pass people, Rod, you're going to have to kind of get under, nudge them, and move them out of the way. You're going to see a lot of that. A veteran like AJ is going to be well trained in how to do that nicely without hopefully pissing somebody off too bad and just completely shipping them. I think he could have a great day. Honestly, we don't have SVG in this sheet. Where is SVG price-wise? He's actually a guy that I definitely looked at because he's $6,000, so he's cheap. If he does make the main event, he could be a little bit of a sneaky guy because, in a general sense on ovals, I think he's going to have his struggles this year. But on the really short tracks, we saw this last year at Martinsville, it translates really, really well for these road course specialists. So kind of something to keep in mind as you go into a weekend like this. And AJ Allmendinger and SVG, even back to Ty Gibbs, guys that are really good at road courses. All of that stuff kind of comes into play at this type of track as well. So something to keep an eye on for sure.
And if you want, you can use something like this as a reference too, especially when we're talking about how difficult it is for, I guess, fast drivers to be fast on this track. The average speed of the 2022 Clash, 39.029 miles per hour. The 2023 race was 21.831 miles an hour, and the average speed of the 2024 Clash was 32.937 miles an hour. So these quarter-mile tracks, I mean, you're getting up to 40 miles an hour, and then you're having to brake again. And then, like you said, to these road coursers' credit, that's what they're used to. They're used to being able to kind of get up and get to 40 miles an hour, but slam back down to 0 and undercut somebody quickly. So I like that. I like that part of the handicap.
Yeah, absolutely. John Little checking in again, and this is a great point. Are we going to have a DK contest for the Clash? We are. If you're interested, join our Discord, sg.pn/Discord. It's a great place to be. There's just conversation constantly. There's a NASCAR channel for us where we hang out obviously the most, but there's a channel for anything and everything you want, sports related, not sports related, whatever. You're going to find like-minded people and made some great friends through the Discord really over the years. So been a great place to be. Get over there and check it out. But every week I will post. We just do a $5 DK contest. We do it for all the cup races, Xfinity trucks, put it in there, and you can join it and play. We all just kind of play against each other, get a handful of people in there. It's a fun way to come in and kick my ass, take my money. There you go. You can have it. I'll get you every once in a while. John, definitely one of the pros at that. So we will have those contests for every race, Clash included. So yeah, stand by in the Discord to see that contest there soon. All right, Rod, should we save a little bit more money and go to our cheap value plays if you want to go?
I feel like we should. However, I do want to say that I made a great friend in Discord's predecessor, Slack. I'd say I made a really good friend in that one.
Yeah, exactly. If you don't know the story, before we had the Discord, we just had a Slack. SGPN had a Slack channel, which still exists for the behind the scenes stuff, but that's where all the DGens hung out. I was just the loudmouth guy in the NASCAR channel, and Rod came to me, and now we're 500 and some episodes into the show, and here we are, 574. Rod, holy shit, we've done a lot of episodes of this, in addition to a lot of other things. So
yes, we
all because I joined to talk to some fellow DGens long before there was even the thought of a NASCAR show on this network. So gotta love it. Get over there. You never know what could happen to you if you join as well. All right, Rod. Todd Gilliland is what's going to happen to us next. $5,800. Get in on Gilly Gang this weekend. I like him. He's sort of I think he's kind of under the radar this week. I know I've seen a lot of people bet his number got steamed down for the 500. Some people were tweeting out about it, talking about it, whatever. People love him for that race, and we'll talk more about that going forward. But I think this could be a good week for Todd Gilliland. If you don't remember, he's moved over to the 34 car for Front Row, still the same team, but now he's in the lead car, right? The former McDowell car. Front Row has made the investment to buy another charter. They've made the even bigger investment to sue NASCAR. That shows you how invested they really are, right? To go through fighting all of that stuff alongside 2311. So you'd love to see all of that. They're serious about us. Gilliland's the first driver they've given a multi-year contract to. They've had consistently been one-year deals for everybody before that. They've locked him in long-term. He's their franchise guy. This is a guy that they want doing things. And he's been pretty good here in the couple of Clash races that he's run the last couple of years. Last season, made it in. Then he had some brake issue, didn't complete very many laps. So you didn't really get to see what he had, but made that field of 23. So you like to see that. And also had issues in the previous year when he made it in. Got caught up in a wreck. That's going to happen, but 2 for 2 making it there. And we really saw Gilliland come out of his shell last year during the season, right? It was going into, if you don't remember this, was it last year? It was 2 years ago that, remember, they took some of his rides away. He ended up starting races for Rick Ware and somebody else because they couldn't even fill him full time. And now we're to the point, he's the franchise guy, first guy with a multi-year deal. So we've seen the progression of Gilliland, but yet he still made it to the main event in both of these years. I think he'll be able to do that again, and I think he could be kind of a sneaky guy. When we get to this, it's cut down to 23, obviously. There's less choices than the 40. I think there's 39 entries for the weekend, so you're not going to have a normal race of 39, 40 guys to pick from, or 41 potentially in the case of the Daytona 500. You're only going to have the 23 guys to pick from. And I think that guys like Gilliland are going to get overlooked because of that, because some of the other guys are cheaper. You're going to be able to put together a pretty solid lineup without including some of the cheaper guys. But I think that there's going to be some sneaky cheaper guys like a Gilliland that could bring you a lot of value and push you over the edge to win the weekend.
Yeah, so for Todd Gilliland, I mean, this is definitely a good play with upside. So I like that one. And you're going to need, obviously, like Cody said, you're going to need one because if you're going to put the Kyle Larsons, the Kyle Bushes, the Ryan Blaney's even of the world up there, then you're going to need some instant salary relief. And a guy that's been able to do it and do it consistently is a good shot.
Yeah. And 12th at New Hampshire, 12th at Iowa, 13th at Martinsville. So not the best runs in the world, but decent days for the equipment that he's in and all of that. And now that's stepped up, both in the team has gotten better, and he's in now the top priority number one car too, which I think is a good step for Gilliland.
I'm curious and anxious to see how that 34 car is going to run all season long, not just in this clash. All right. Would not be a show if I did not bring up the Legacy Motor Club and one driver. Now that Jimmy Johnson is owning this thing, I'm hammering every single chance I get for John Hunter Nemechek or for Eric Jones. But this week is a John Hunter Nemechek week. $5,500 for JHN in that beautiful 42 machine. I know that, again, this is one that not everybody's going to want, and that's fine. You can go ahead and miss out on it. Last year in the clash, started 21st, finished 13th. That was his first clash, right? That was his first time in the clash. We know John Hunter Nemechek, right, was up in the Cup Series for a little bit, had to go back down, get some more seasoning, came back up into the tumultuous world that was Legacy. Am I a Chevy? Am I a Toyota? Am I Jimmy? No, all that's gone. None of that exists anymore. Now it's the Jimmy Johnson era of Legacy Motor Club. Those cars are already going to come out of the car and win, or out of the box and win championships right out. So just go ahead and mark that down as JHN's year. Just kidding. I know I'm getting all crazy, but you guys, if you've listened to this show for 5 minutes, you know that I'm all in on Jimmy Johnson.
There was a time where we had the perfect plan. John Hunter was going to be in the 19 car this year, Rod. He was going to be tearing it up. How the mighty have fallen.
Well, listen, fallen or pick themselves back up again. Let's see how that goes. But yeah, for John Hunter, though, like I said, it really, to me, even in the chit sandwich that was last year, right? He still averaged 21 points, fantasy points per race in that season. Now that's not, singing praises of awesomeness, but he got you 52 points at the South Point 400 earlier in the season. He got you 35 at the Glen. I know it's a road course, but 45 at the Coke Zero Sugar 400. He can pop up and get you good points days in fantasy. So for me, all I'm wanting is a top 15 out of him at the end of the race and hopes that he starts somewhere in the 20s, because if he does that, then he's going to give you some return on your money. Let's say he does get you a 15th place finish. That's 28 points base right there. That's without any fastest laps or without anything. So if he gets you 15th place, 28 points on a $5,500 salary is actually pretty damn good. So I like the potential for him to be able to. They need to turn it around, Cody. You can't have another season of Legacy being the laughing stock of Toyota. I don't know that they want to be the redheaded stepchildren. When you got the 7-time greatest driver in the entire world, hands down ever, they need to make a mold of him and cast him and put him in. I mean, look, Dover's got his car in them monsters' hand. Like that's the guy that needs to be deified. But his drivers, I think, are going to perform well this year. I think it starts the clash. And for John Hunter Nemechek, if he does make this, he's got the ability to be able to finish well. And I don't think he's gonna hurt you to have him in your lineup.
Yeah, I'm cautiously optimistic on Legacy this year. I'm hoping maybe some of these changes with Jimmy kind of taking over control and being able to dictate things will hopefully help them. They've got two really good drivers. Eric Jones is a great driver. And John Hunter Nemechek, we saw what he did in those lower series. He's a really good driver as well. The equipment just hasn't quite been there. Maybe the people weren't right. Hopefully they've made some changes. Hopefully some things will shift and they'll get better. This is also a track where equipment doesn't matter as much. I know I made some points earlier about, guys are in better equipment because, you don't have to worry as much about a Spire car breaking down like a Rick Ware car did, for Justin Haley before. But the talent and ability of these guys can sort of make up some of that stuff where you aren't reaching top max speeds and getting everything out of the car. So John Hunter Nemechek's shown that he can make the race, and I think that he could do well if he does.
Look, my Chevy Traverse can hit 45 Like that's I know that I could hang on.
Really? That's crazy. It gets all the way to 45, huh?
Gets to 45. It doesn't even take but a half a day to get there. So I can literally hit the gas, and by the middle of the day, I'll be at 45. Isn't that awesome?
0 to 45 in 12 hours, baby.
I can just see the wind blowing through my. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, you're right. I mean, there's a lot that could be said about you only have to reach 40 miles an hour to be able to compete in this, and all these cars can do it. Now you're just leaving it up to how skilled of a wheelman are you to be able to get around these drivers in a condensed area, right? Not just condensed as far as a quarter mile, but the track's not that wide either. You got to pick your spots. So again, I think he's a good enough driver to get it done. I think he's a good enough driver to put in your DFS lineups. Another guy that not everybody's going to be on because they're just going to be scared. So all right. Well, Cody, that is the 6 drivers. Can they all fit in one lineup? That's the question.
Well, we got plenty of room, Rod. 5,900 left on the table, so we'll be able to do some moving and shaking at the top and get some different guys in. And again, go back and listen to some of the guys we like on the betting episode yesterday. The Christopher Bells, the Kyle Bushes, the Ryan Priestes of the world. Talked more in depth on those guys yesterday. If we like them for betting purposes, we also like them in the DFS world as well.
Get a whole Todd Gilliland left over on that one as well. But all right, we'll get out your pen and paper. I'm going to go over our DFS plays for the Cookout Clash at the Bowman Gray Stadium. Cody started you off with Tyrone Gibbs at $9,000 for his high-priced driver. I said, don't overthink it. Put Kyle Larson in to your high-price slot at $10,500. Cody took a step down in stealing Justin Haley at $6,700. I am rolling with my spirit driver, AJ Allmendinger, at $6,600. When I meet him at Sonoma, should I tell him that he's my spirit driver, or would that be too creepy?
It might be a little weird, but
what if I wore a shirt, a Racing Gambling Podcast shirt that said AJ Allmendinger is my spirit driver? You think that would come off a little too strong?
You do, you, Rod.
All right, I'm just saying. Yeah, you may have to find a new co-host because I could probably get fired for that, but we'll see. Todd Gilliland is Cody's low price driver at $5,800, and John Hunter Nemechek is mine at $5,500. So there it is, Cody. We our first DFS show of the year. I'm so happy.
It's beautiful. Yeah, in the books, ready to go. We're almost to racing, Rod. It is Wednesday, I think. I'm not sure. I'll have to figure out what day it is eventually.
And confirm it is.
Okay, Wednesday. Maybe by the time you listen to this, it's Friday. Who knows? And racing on Saturday. They're going to start those qualifier races. So we're almost there. It just this week, we were sort of talking about this before the show, but it feels like the offseason for NASCAR is pretty short, right? I mean, we had less than 100 days, but it's like, oh, it's finally here. We're going to see cars on track this week. Let's go. So excited and just glad to be back.
Well, and the fact that now we're 3 episodes a week too, it makes every minute that we have very precious and very, we have to get all the stuff that we got to get in for the particular week. So yeah, definitely. Yeah. It makes us rethink our entire process.
That's right. And we will be back tomorrow with another show. We'll see Underdog. Hopefully we'll get some their fantasy projections out so we can talk some about that. If not, we'll be back. We'll have something to talk about for sure. But yeah, I'm excited and ready for it. So in the meantime, while you're waiting for the next episode, Rod, head over to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Daytona. Check out that free Daytona 500 contest. Why not, right? $100 in cold hard cash plus a gift card plus some other shit. You get a chance to win one of these shirts, hoodie, whatever else we end up giving out on that. Could be a lot of fun stuff. So make sure you do that. Head over to the NASCAR Gambling Podcast, either the Facebook page or the X account at NASCAR Gambling. I've got the contest link for that shared out. One and done pool, Rod. They took it away from us, but we found another place to do it. So we're back. Yes, let's go. The new link for that is up. So go sign up for that. And yeah, we've got the official NASCAR Fantasy League coming back. We're finishing putting all the details for that together, but we'll have that link out in the next day or two as well. Busy, but that's just because the season's here. Gotta love it, Rod. Yeah, and then follow me as well over on the X at Husker_Zeeb. A lot of stuff over there, continuing to cook up new stuff. So make sure you check it out. We'll see you guys tomorrow.
Everything Cody said. times 2. But yeah, instead follow me on Twitter at RJ Villagomez. Link in the bio to everything I've got going on, whether it's here tomorrow, Thursday, or yesterday, or whenever you're listening to this. Catch me on the back road with Seth and Elliot as we break down the Clash and have some fun doing it there. And then, of course, if you listen before Friday morning, there's another link in there that can take you to some fun esports betting. If you're a Call of Duty fan and you want to bet on folks playing Call of Duty, that's out there as well. Love you all. See you tomorrow with some sort of episode in and near. It's obviously going to be NASCAR related, but we'll catch you then. So, all right, everybody, we'll see you guys then. Until then, let's go racing and let it ride.